I'm Jessica Eaton, and I'll be talking about the riches and headaches of living in Midland, Texas. I've once heard someone say, if you've lived in Midland for the past 5 years, you shouldn't be complaining about the traffic because it's your fault. We shouldn't have to say this. We should be able to live here comfortably with everyone. So as Midland citizens and officials, we should work together to create a solution for this problem. As someone who has lived here since 1998, I feel like I'm a credible source because I've seen Midland go through its big oil boom, and I've been a result of it because, like, my father works there. So we'll be talking about why there's an overpopulation problem, some of the harms, and a way that I feel like could solve it. After all, Midland needs to change in order to sustain itself. So let's go ahead and talk about the history and why it's the way it is. In 1923, the Permian Basin was greatly changed whenever Midland was transformed into the administrative center of West Texas oils. This just means that the oil gathered from West Texas and places as far as Oklahoma gets sent all to us, and we treat it and we distribute it to other parts of America. So this is why there are so many oil field jobs. While we do drilling of our own, we get it from other places also, and we're in charge of it all. So according to the Texas Handbook from Leffler of 2010, he's talking about the economy of the 60s and 70s. As he says, the local economy slumped between the 60s and 70s. However, this is as an area, as petroleum companies struggle against competition from foreign oil fields. So while there was a problem then, we've bounced back since then, and there are some hard times. And so towards the mid-70s, we started booming again. So Midland, Odessa's main claim to fame is that Midland is the childhood home of President George W. Bush, as we see him there. And he saw the potential of the oil field as he started his own company in 1978 as a result of the economy picking back up. From the Texas Handbook again, Leffler had this to say about the boom from the 70s and 80s. Though thousands of new apartments and new houses were built in the city during the boom, contractors could not keep pace with demand. So today the problem just got bigger. We have the same problems with housing, we have problems with traffic, and we have some problems with schooling. So here are some of the barriers of why we can't just change everything. So one is that citizens don't want to change to accommodate for the overpopulation because they want to keep the city as they remember it. Like, they want to keep the history, and they want to keep the way they remember it. So, but at the same time, people aren't too fond of living right next to a busy road. Going from a quiet neighborhood one decade to a busy street the next. So there's some developments to spread the city out, as some roads are being changed to 4-lane roads, and there are some roads that are being lengthened. But the problem with this is that the roads that are busy now, as we see, are just getting busier as the construction is putting 30 minutes to an hour on your commute. So the construction is making the traffic just worse than it was in the beginning. So harms that I have showed, or now that I've shown you some of the causes of the problems of the population, let's look at the effect that it has on the population. So with people coming in from different backgrounds and different cultures, we see that that's not a bad thing. We see that we're getting more cultured and we have new things coming. But at the same time, we see that crime rates are slightly higher, as this brings in more opportunity for crime to happen. In this chart, we see what Midland is compared to the U.S., and we see how it compares to Texas also, and we see that Midland is slightly higher on a few things than it should be. So from Harris of 2006, we see analysis demonstrated that both poverty and violent crimes were moderately correlated with the population density, and these crimes largely affected the same blocks. In addition to that, we see that business and establishments are being affected by this also, as they're overcrowded with fewer people to work. These people are working for the oil companies, and then they come into the businesses. So we see Stonegate is the largest church in Midland, and it's still growing. In an interview with one of the original members, Brandon Phillips, when asked how the boom has affected the young church, he had this to say. He said that while there are 4 separate services, they're having to ask their members to choose a less convenient service so that there will be enough seating for the large amount of visitors that they have each week. And he says that he sees this as a direct result of the oil boom. Another problem is that Midland is already a desert and we're lacking rain. According to the article Groundwater Depletion, the writer uses the analogy to describe rainfall in correlation with money usage and how we spend it. He says, if you withdraw money at a faster rate than you deposit new money, you'll eventually have a count supply problem. And that's from Groundwater Depletion of 2014. So we're in an extreme drought because of the rainfall, but also because there are more people here that need to take more showers. So if you feel like one day your lawn is just a little too brown and you feel like watering it at the wrong time or day, you can get a hefty fine. So clearly overpopulation is a problem for Midland, Texas as a result of the oil business. But I'd like to share with you a solution that could hopefully soften the blow. The expansion of Midland should be towards the city of Odessa. The planning is quite simple as an interstate, and there are several other roads that already lead to there. As you can see in the picture on the PowerPoint, it's a straight shot, like it's already connected. The merging of these 2 cities would work well because Odessa is also largely affected by the oil boom. Either they have oil field jobs there, or we have a lot of people commuting back and forth between jobs. From Engelman of 2013, we see we need to strengthen community roots and social capital, including intergroup networks to bridge different communities. So this is just telling us that we need to rely on each other, and we're both in the same situation, but we could help each other by bridging together. Mayor Morales had this to say: both communities are sister cities who've always worked together, and growing up, the only competition I knew was football, said Morales with a chuckle, and that was from Rousseau of 2014. This could solve a housing problem, as there's plenty of room to build more houses and apartments along I-20 and all in between there. This could help put people back in the traffic towards the outside of town instead of just in the middle. So instead of having cars all in the middle, we could disperse it. As I said before, these roads are already here, so it wouldn't be a huge inconvenience for road workers, as they could focus on repairing the roads. The history of the 2 could stay somewhat preserved without having to change too much of the parts of town that would otherwise have been compromised to accommodate extra cars and extra people. The advantages would be numerous. There would be housing so that people that are living in the hotels could get out of those, and we could give the hotels back to our visitors. There would be plenty of business opportunities as well. So, as we've seen the problems, some of the effects, and a solution of the overpopulation problem in Midland, Texas, we are seeing the city of Midland needs to be able to sustain itself for the citizens and many new or old members. So, as Midland County citizens, we need to look at why the things are the way they are, see some of the problems, and look into the solution I've presented. If this is an issue that you think that you can help with, you can go to a city council meeting the 1st and 3rd Tuesday of every month at 9 a.m. We as citizens need to live in this town comfortably, so people shouldn't have a reason to say, if you've moved to Midland in the past 5 years, don't complain about traffic because it's your fault. Thank you.